morning. It's a bright and sunshiny day. Hey, good morning, everybody. I hope you're well. I'm tired. I always wake up early. Why can't I just sleep until the alarm goes off? You know what I mean? I really don't feel like doing this today. I didn't feel like I went live last night, and just to get another live in, I was not into it. It was a lousy live. If anybody gives that a thumbs up, I'll be surprised. Okay, let's do this one. Our Father in the heavens, let your name be sanctified. Let your kingdom come, let your will take place, as in heaven, also on earth. Give us today our bread for this day, and forgive us our debts, as we also have forgiven our debtors. And do not bring us into temptation, but deliver us from the wicked one. For thine is the kingdom, the power, and the glory, forever and ever. Amen. Thank you, Jehovah, for another beautiful day on this beautiful earth. And thank you for allowing us to wake up today. And thank you for what you did for us in the past, present, and what you will do for us in the future. I really appreciate everything you have done for us, Jehovah. Jehovah, please continue to look after Nessa, who is really sick. Please cure her and give her mental, physical strength to get past it. And also continue to help her shoulder. And continue to help Christina Anderson with her broken femur bone in her leg. Continue to help Tate, Cindy Lee, King Charles, Chad Griffith, Joe Biden, Michael Bolton, Ric Flair all have cancers, different types, different kinds. Please cure them and give them physical mental strength to get through it. Celine Dion has stiff person syndrome. Take away a lot of pain that she's always in and the seizures. Sarah and Jess has um, really bad migraines. They both get treatment for it. I believe Sarah just got her treatment for it. And Jess has several autoimmune disorders and POTS. Um, I believe she said she's a diabetic. Um, that's it. I don't know if that's an autoimmune disorder. But she has a lot of disorders. And Jehovah, please cure them because they're very special people. And the mama, and Jess's mama, give her physical strength to make right decisions in her life, to make life better. And bless Sarah's family and Jess's family. Jenny, Tiffany, Robin Taylor, Miss Anna, daughters Arnie, Vicky, family, Carol and Mom. Please help them. In Jesus' name, amen. I'll be right back. I gotta go potty. I am back. Usually I'm not, when I wake up, I'm not hungry like this. Wish we had breakfast sausage, you know. No, that would be a good breakfast. We do have ground sausage. I can make sausage patties to go with my eggs. I can fast defrost them. Mmm. Just, I could make all the patties and just then let it cool and put it in. Oh, I don't think we had Ziploc. Never mind. Never mind. I won't even bother opening it. I'll have the oatmeal. Okay. Oh, I'm going to be zooming in on a congregation in Massachusetts on Thursday and Sunday. Yes. That's um, Robin's congregation. Monday, July 7th, daily text. Serve Jehovah with rejoicing. Come into his presence with joyful shouting. Psalms chapter 100, verse 2. That's exactly what it is. Exactly what I read. Excuse me. Jehovah wants us to serve him happily and willingly. So he does not force us to. If you don't, you don't. You know where you're going. Well, you know where you're not going to be going. So 2 Corinthians chapter 9, verse 7. Let each one do just as he has resolved in his heart, not grudgingly or under compulsion, for God loves a cheerful giver. So you don't give because people's telling you to. Someone told me since we sold our house in Rhode Island and we moved out here, did you donate anything? I went, well, do I have to? She goes, yeah. I'm like, it says in the Bible you don't give grudgingly or unwilling. It has to come from the heart. You don't give because someone's telling you to. And that's what I believe. So, should we keep working toward a spiritual goal if we do not feel like it? Consider the Apostle Paul's example. He said, I strictly discipline my body and lead it to a slave. 1 Corinthians chapter 9, verses 25 through 27 reads, Now everyone competing in a contest exercises self-control in all things. Of course they do it to receive a crown that can perish, but we can, but we one that does not perish. Therefore, the way I am running is not aimlessly. The way I am aiming my blows is so as not to be striking the air, but I pummel my body and lead it as a slave, so that after I have preached to others, I myself should not become disapproved somehow. Paul forced himself to do what was right, even when he may have felt inclined to do otherwise. Did Jehovah approve of Paul's service? Definitely, because he showed discipline. And Jehovah awarded him for his efforts. 2 Timothy chapter 4, verses 7 and 8 reads, I have fought the fine fight. I have run the race to the finish. I have observed the faith. From this time on, there is reserved for me the crown of righteousness, which the Lord, the righteous God, judge, with, will give me as a reward in that day, yet not to me only, but also to all those who have loved his manifestation. Manifestation. Wow, I almost couldn't get that whole thing out. I'm sorry. Similarly, Jehovah is pleased to see us working toward our goal, even when we do not feel motivated to do so. He is no, he is oh, I think we have an M-O-U-S-C in here. Mouse, you better get away. I just heard something. Oh, I know what it was. Yeah, it's not a mouse. It's the tag that went clink against something. Now, where was I? He is pleased because although we may not always be doing it out of love for that activity, he knows that we are doing it out of love for him. Just as Jehovah blessed Paul, he will bless us for our efforts. Psalms chapter 126 verse 5 reads, those sowing seeds with tears will reap with a joyful shout. And as we experience Jehovah's blessing, we may even start to feel motivated. Yep. Break time. Yeah. I mean, have you ever woke up in the morning and say, man, I'm starving? Well, I'm very hungry, not starving. Yeah, I was talking to Sela. I says, I told her I was going to bed early, and I says, who knows? I might be going through the change, but I typed chains instead. Did I message her? Says, I meant to change, not to chains. She goes, that makes more sense. Mm. Lessons you can learn from the Bible. No, I'm not that far into it. Um, Lesson 9. A son at last.
Lesson 9. A son at last.
Oh, yes, a list.
Abraham and Sarah had been married for many years. They had left their comfortable home in Ur and were living in a tent. But Sarah did not complain because she trusted in Jehovah. Sarah wanted a child so much that she told Abraham, if my servant Hagar has a child, it could be like my own. In time, Hagar did have a son. His name was Ishmael.
Yep.
Many years later, when Abraham was 99 years old and Sarah was 89, they had 3 visitors. Abraham invited them to rest under a tree and share a meal. Do you know who the visitors were? They were angels. They told Abraham, next year at this time, you and your wife will have a son. Sarah was listening from inside the tent. She laughed to herself and thought, can I really have a child even though I am so old? The next year, Sarah gave birth to a son, just as Jehovah's angel had promised. Abraham named him Isaac, which means laughter.
That's a good name.
When Isaac was about 5 years old, Sarah saw Ishmael making fun of him. She wanted to protect her son, so she went to Abraham and asked him to send Hagar and Ishmael away. At first, Abraham did not want to do that. But Jehovah said to Abraham, "Listen to Sarah. I will take care of Ishmael, but it is through Isaac that my promises will come true." By faith, also Sarah received power to conceive offspring, since she considered him faithful who made the promise. Hebrews 11:11.
So, here's a question for you. What did Sarah hear the angels tell Abraham? Well, she heard the angels tell Abraham that they will have a child. How did Jehovah protect Isaac? She well, Sarah told Abraham to send Ishmael and his mother away. Jehovah told his father to listen to him, and he'll take care of Ishmael. Genesis chapter 16, 1 through 4 reads, "Now Abraham's wife Sarai had borne him no children, but she had an Egyptian servant whose name was Hagar. So Sarai said to Abram, 'Please now, Jehovah has prevented me from bearing children. Please have relations with my servant. Perhaps I can have children by means of her.' So Abram listened to what Sarai said. After Abram had lived for 10 years in the land of Canaan, Abram's wife Sarai took her Egyptian servant Hagar and gave her to her husband Abram as his wife. So he had relations with Hagar, and she became pregnant. When she realized that she was pregnant, she began to despise her mistress." Yeah. 15 and 16 reads, "So Hagar bore to Abram a son, and Abram named his son, whom Hagar bore, Ishmael. Abram was 86 years when Hagar bore Ishmael to him." And Genesis chapter 17, 25 through 27 reads, "And Ishmael his son was 13 years old when he had the flesh of his foreskin circumcised. On that very day Abraham was circumcised, and also his son Ishmael. All the men of..." I'm confused. Oh, yeah. "All the men of his household, anyone born in the house, and anyone purchased with money from the foreigner, were also circumcised with him." And now chapter 18, 1 through 15 reads, we'll listen to that.
Afterward, Jehovah appeared to him among the big trees of Mamre, while he was sitting at the entrance of the tent during the hottest part of the day. He looked up and saw 3 men standing some distance from him. When he saw them, he ran from the entrance of the tent to meet them, and he bowed down to the ground. Then he said,
Jehovah, if I have found favor in your eyes, please do not pass by your servant. Please let a little water be brought and have your feet washed. Then recline under the tree. Seeing that you have come here to your servant, let me bring a piece of bread so that you may refresh yourselves. And then you may go on your way."
At this they said,
"All right, you may do as you have spoken."
So Abraham hurried to the tent to Sarah and said,
"Quick, get 3 measures of fine flour, knead the dough, and make loaves of bread."
Next, Abraham ran to the herd and chose a tender and good young bull. He gave it to the attendant, who hurried to prepare it. He then took butter and milk and the young bull that he had prepared and set the food before them. Then he stood by them under the tree as they were eating. They said to him,
"Where is your wife, Sarah?"
He replied,
"Here, in the tent."
So one of them continued,
"I will surely return to you next year at this time, and look, your wife Sarah will have a son."
Now Sarah was listening at the tent entrance, which was behind the man. Abraham and Sarah were old, being advanced in years. Sarah was past the age of childbearing. So Sarah began to laugh to herself, saying,
After I am worn out and my Lord is old, will I really have this pleasure?
Then Jehovah said to Abraham,
Why did Sarah laugh and say, "Am I really going to give birth, even though I am old? Is anything too extraordinary for Jehovah? I will return to you next year at this appointed time, and Sarah will have a son."
But Sarah denied it, saying,
I did not laugh.
for she was afraid. At this he said,
Yes, you did laugh.
You always should tell the truth. And chapter 21, verses 1 through 14 reads,
Jehovah turned his attention to Sarah, just as he had said, and Jehovah did for Sarah what he had promised. So Sarah became pregnant, and then bore a son to Abraham in his old age, at the appointed time God had promised him. Abraham named his newborn son, whom Sarah bore to him, Isaac. And Abraham circumcised his son Isaac when he was 8 days old, just as God had commanded him. Abraham was 100 years old when his son Isaac was born to him. Then Sarah said,
God has brought me laughter. Everybody hearing of it will laugh with me.
and she added,
Who would have said to Abraham, Sarah will certainly nurse children, yet I have given birth to a son for him in his old age.
Now the child grew and was weaned, and Abraham prepared a big feast on the day that Isaac was weaned. But Sarah kept noticing that the son of Hagar the Egyptian, whom she had borne to Abraham, was mocking Isaac. So she said to Abraham,
Drive out this slave girl and her son, for the son of this slave girl is not going to be an heir along with my son, with Isaac.
for what she said about his son was very displeasing to Abraham. Then God said to Abraham, Do not be displeased by what Sarah is saying to you about the boy and about your slave girl. Listen to her, for what will be called your offspring will be through Isaac. As for the son of the slave girl, I will also make a nation out of him, because he is your offspring. So Abraham got up early in the morning and took bread and a skin bottle of water and gave it to Hagar. He set these on her shoulder and then sent her away along with the boy. So she departed and wandered about in the wilderness of Beersheba. Finally, the water in the skin bottle was used up, and she pushed the boy under one of the bushes.
I think that's all. Yeah. Oh, we read one too many. Sorry. Hebrews chapter 11. Oh, no, we already read that. Yeah. So now, lesson 10. Remember the wife of Lot.
Lesson 10. Remember the wife of Lot. Lot lived with Abraham, his uncle, in the land of Canaan. Eventually, Abraham and Lot had so many animals that there was not enough land for all of them. Abraham said to Lot, We can no longer live together in one place. Please, choose which way you would like to go, and I will go the other way. That was unselfish of Abraham, wasn't it? Lot saw a beautiful part of the land near a city called Sodom. There was plenty of water as well as green grass, so he chose that place and moved his family there. The people of Sodom and of the nearby city of Gomorrah were very bad. In fact, they were so bad that Jehovah decided to destroy those cities. But God wanted to save Lot and his family, so he sent 2 angels to warn them. Hurry, get out of this city. Jehovah is going to destroy it. Lot did not leave right away. He kept on delaying. So the angels took Lot, his wife, and his 2 daughters by the hand and rushed them out of the city, saying, "Run, escape for your life, and do not look back. If you look back, you will die."
And what does Lot's
When
wife
they
do?
arrived at the city called Zoar, Jehovah made it rain fire and sulfur on Sodom and Gomorrah. Those 2 cities were completely destroyed.
Mm.
When Lot's wife disobeyed Jehovah and looked back, she turned into a pillar of salt. But Lot and his daughters were safe because they had obeyed Jehovah. They must have been very sad that Lot's wife had disobeyed, but they were glad that they had listened to Jehovah's instructions.
Yes.
Remember the wife of Lot. Luke 17:32.
Yep. Okay. Genesis chapter. No. Why did Jehovah destroy Sodom and Gomorrah? Oh, why did he do that? This is the first time I have to look back. I don't know. Decided to destroy those cities. People of oh yeah. Oh, the people of Sodom and Gomorrah were very bad. In fact, they were so bad that Jehovah decided to destroy those cities. Oh. What did Lot's wife, why did Lot's wife turn into a pillar of salt? Well, she disobeyed Jehovah and looked back when he said don't. He clearly said that you will die. And she disobeyed him. Hello? Genesis chapter 13, verses 1 through 13.
Chapter 13. Abram then went up out of Egypt to the Negev, he and his wife and all that he had, together with Lot. Abram was very rich in livestock, silver, and gold. He camped in one place after another as he traveled from the Negev to Bethel, until he arrived at the place where his tent had been, between Bethel and Ai, to the place where he had previously built an altar. There Abram called on the name of Jehovah. Now Lot, who was traveling with Abram, also owned sheep, cattle, and tents. So the land did not allow for all of them to stay in the same place. Their goods had become so many that they could no longer dwell together. As a result, a quarrel arose between the herders of Abram's livestock and the herders of Lot's livestock. At that time the Canaanites and the Perizzites were dwelling in the land. So Abram said to Lot,
Please, there should be no quarreling between me and you and between my herdsmen and your herdsmen, for we are brothers. Is not the whole land available to you? Please separate from me. If you go to the left, then I will go to the right. But if you go to the right, then I will go to the left.
So Lot raised his eyes and saw that the whole district of the Jordan was a well-watered region before Jehovah destroyed Sodom and Gomorrah, like the garden of Jehovah, like the land of Egypt, as far as Zoar. Then Lot chose for himself the whole district of the Jordan, and Lot moved his camp to the east. So they separated from each other. Abram lived in the land of Canaan, but Lot lived among the cities of the district. Finally, he set up his tent near Sodom. Now the men of Sodom were wicked, gross sinners against Jehovah.
Chapter 19, 1 through 26. But before I do that, I'm going to go to the ladies' room. I'll be right back. Okie dokie. Genesis chapter 1.
The two angels arrived
No,
at Sodom
hold up.
by
Stop.
evening.
Stop. Genesis chapter 19, 1 through 26.
The two angels arrived at Sodom by evening, and Lot was sitting in the gate of Sodom. When Lot saw them, he got up to meet them, and bowed down with his face to the earth. And he said,
Please, my lords, turn aside, please, into the house of your servant, and stay overnight, and have your feet washed. Then you may get up early and travel on your way.
To this they said,
No, we will stay overnight in the public square.
but he was so insistent with them that they went with him to his house. Then he made a feast for them, and he baked unleavened bread, and they ate. Before they could lie down to sleep, the men of the city, the men of Sodom from boy to old man, all of them, surrounded the house in one mob. And they kept calling out to Lot and saying to him,
Where are the men who came into you tonight? Bring them out to us, so that we may have sex with them.
Oh.
Then Lot went out to them to the doorway, and he shut the door behind him. He said,
Please, my brothers, do not act wickedly. Please, here I have 2 daughters who have never had sexual relations with a man. Please let me bring them out to you, for you to do to them whatever seems good to you. But do not do anything to these men, for they have come under the shelter of my roof.
At this they said,
Stand back.
and they added,
This lone foreigner came to live here, and yet he dares to judge us. Now we are going to do worse to you than to them.
and they crowded in on Lot and
Oh.
moved forward to break down the door.
Oh.
So the men reached out their hands and brought Lot into the house
Oh.
with them, and they shut the door. But they struck the men who were at the entrance of the house with blindness, from
Hell,
the least to the greatest, so that they wore themselves out trying to find the doorway. Then the men said to Lot,
Do you have anyone else here? Sons-in-law, your sons, your daughters, and all your people in the city. Bring out of this place.
For we are going to destroy this place, because the outcry against them has indeed grown great before Jehovah, so that Jehovah sent us to destroy the city.
So Lot went out and began to speak to his sons-in-law, who were to marry his daughters.
Oh. Stop it.
And he kept saying,
Get up, get out of this place, because Jehovah will destroy the city.
but to his sons-in-law, he seemed to be joking. As dawn was breaking, the angels became urgent with Lot, saying,
Get up. Take your wife and your 2 daughters who are here with you, so that you will not be swept away in the error of the city.
When he kept lingering, then because of Jehovah's compassion for him, the men seized hold of his hand, and the hand of his wife, and the hands of his 2 daughters, and they brought him out and stationed him outside the city. As soon as they had brought them to the outskirts, he said,
Escape for your life. Do not look behind you, and do not stand still in any part of the district. Escape to the mountainous regions so that you may not be swept away.
Then Lot said to them,
Not there, please, Jehovah. Please now, your servant has found favor in your eyes, and you are showing great kindness to me by preserving me alive. But I am not able to flee to the mountainous region, because I am afraid that disaster may overtake me, and I will die. Please now, this town is nearby, and I can flee there. It is only a small place. May I please escape there? It is only a small place. Then I will survive.
So he said to him,
Very well. I will also show you consideration by not overthrowing the town you speak of. Hurry, escape there, because I cannot do anything until you arrive there.
That is why he named the town Zoar. The sun had risen over the land when Lot arrived at Zoar. Then Jehovah made it rain sulfur and fire on Sodom and Gomorrah. It came from Jehovah, from the heavens. So he overthrew these cities, yes, the entire district, including all the inhabitants of the cities and the plants of the ground. But Lot's wife, who was behind him, began to look back, and she became a pillar of salt.
Oh. Man, why did she have to look back? Luke chapter 17, 28 and 29 reads, Likewise, just as it occurred in the days of Lot, they were eating, they were drinking, they were buying, they were selling, they were planting, they were building. But on the day that Lot went out of Sodom, it rained fire and sulfur from heaven and destroyed them all. 2 Timothy chapter 2, verses 6 through 9 says, And by reducing the cities of Sodom and Gomorrah to ashes, he condemned them, setting a pattern for ungodly people of things to come. And he rescued righteous Lot, who was greatly distressed by the brazen conduct of the lawless people. For day after day that righteous man was tormenting his righteous soul over the lawless deed that he saw and heard while dwelling among them. So then Jehovah knows how to rescue people of godly devotion out of trial, but to reserve unrighteous people to be destroyed on the day of judgment. Yes. And that's going to be it I'm gonna get the dog out to go potty. I'm gonna go get my breakfast because I'm quite hungry. Why are you growling? There's no one here. She's so funny. And so I will see you later. Love, don't judge. Until next time, my jelly beans. Peace out.